we have a special guest, David George, with us. So we're just going to chat, and you can listen to just going to go wherever it goes.
Yeah.
So,
Hi, David. How are you?
Yeah.
I'm good, David.
Good.
Good to see you. And Albert, good to see you as well.
Good to see you. So let's just talk about the thing that you were working on lately first, and then we can just get a little bit on you. But it's really cool to be part of the When We All Come Together thing.
Thanks. It turned out so incredibly well.
Yeah.
The one thing when Giuliano and I first started tossing ideas around how to make it happen, I knew I'm a pretty hands-on producer with my stuff and anybody I'm working with. I just like to get in there and work things out. But this thing, because of our distancing and our isolating situation, I couldn't sit in the same room with Giuliano. I couldn't sit in the same room with Michael Lopez or Steve Gardell, the two guys who edited that monstrosity. So I told them from the beginning, I says, I have faith. Make it sound good, make it look good. You know, we can do some tweaking because that's what we're doing as a team. But yeah, Giuliano, he took 113 different tracks and made that. And that's one of those things you're like, you know, recording 101, you know, dynamics and you don't need all that stuff on there.
Right.
Yeah.
But as I was writing this song, I had different things in my head, but what I wanted to do was make sure I could find space to put people in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's two glockenspiels, there's chimes, there's percussion, you know, 30 vocalists and 40 strings, horns, and players, and 14 lead singers, and then a 12-piece band. And that was my biggest concern, not to talk so much, is
go for it.
Who do I get to play on this? I mean, I know 10, 15 drummers. I know equally number of bassists and guitarists and keyboardists and singers. And so I reached out to people that I knew had recording capabilities right then. And I just let it go. I didn't want to get too caught up in that. And then with the singers, I tried to reach out. I reached out to you guys and a few others. And it was kind of hard to get people. It was all through Facebook. And I had a few people text me and say, why didn't you ask me to do that? I said, are you on Facebook? And like, well, no. I said, well, man, I can't hunt you down. I put a notice on Facebook. Hey, I messaged everybody on Facebook, which is a total no-no because people get Facebook messages and they're like, oh my God, it's got a virus, scam, spam.
Yeah, sometimes,
So, but yeah, I'm very happy with the way it came together.
It's
and
great.
The last piece of that puzzle was Kadesh Flow. And I had a lot of other guys I invited. And I got a lot of people just either couldn't find the time, but what bummed me out was not that they couldn't find the time, was that they didn't respond to me.
Yeah.
So they left me hanging for a week.
That sucks. I don't know. What were they doing that they couldn't find the time?
What I have
it's like found, I'm sitting at home all day long. I got plenty of time.
Right. What I've found out is that a lot of people are busy. I think we're more busy being stuck at home than we were when we weren't, because I think we have different priorities now.
Yeah.
And you know, I know a couple of musicians who've, you know, like homeschooling. I mean, it's hard. You got to homeschool and you got to work at home and you got to take care of your house, not like before. And I know a lot of musicians who are teaching from home. And it's not like the old days where you could get stuff done in between people. You're cramming them all in like in an hour. Okay, you got 10 minutes. And then all of a sudden the day's over. And what did you do?
Yeah. So what was this a song that you just wrote specifically for this, or was it something you had parts of for a while? And
I literally had this. I had when we all come together. That's all I had for like a month. I don't know. The way I tend to write is I'll get like a chord going or something, a pattern, and then the great songwriting analogy of all time is scrambled eggs.
Sure.
I literally use phonetic words and whatever comes out. And that's what came out when we all come together. And I was like, oh man, this would be kind of a cool just song for be uplifting. And then literally that was like on a Saturday. I lost my job on Monday, and then the following Saturday, that song kind of came together, that bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then that next week I wrote the verses. And then I was holding off on the bridge, the Rise Up part. I had Rise Up, but I didn't have lines. And I was, I tossed it out to two songwriters here in town again. They're like, yeah. And like a week went by. I go, no, I'm writing it. It's like, I write fast. And, and I love writing together. You ever want to write? Say, hey Dave, what do you got? Let's do it.
Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of the way it created itself, and it just became more and more important, like self-evident that what the song was going to be about as it all started coming together. And I think this coming together, and then to me, I think the biggest line came out of the bridge that was the last thing I wrote. It literally, when the darkness fades away, we will rise up to be stronger every day. And I just kind of like, I wrote that? All right.
Yeah,
cool.
that's cool. Yeah.
And it kind of summed up, I guess that's what bridges do. It kind of takes you to a different place.
Yep. Cool.
Well, thanks for inviting us to participate in that song. And
thanks for Kermit.
We'll have lots of links to
this
Kermit.
Song
as
there
we
he
go
is
along.
right there.
But, Kermit's up there.
Yeah.
Violating all kinds of copyrights.
Thank you for...
But he's up there.
Yeah. He's got his Hofner. That's sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so glad you guys joined in. And like I said, it was a weird thing trying to it was a learning experience for me, for all of us that were doing it, because these things just started popping up, and it took 2 months to do it. This thing was inspired by, there was a girl that went to Berklee School of Music, and they're all musicians who all have interfaces at home because that's what they do. They're young people learning the new music skills. So of course they've got laptops and Pro Tools or Logic or something. And so they were already kind of savvy to the technology, and she had this score and just basically did her part and did a click track to it and sent it to like 100 of her friends at school.
Wow. And
then they sent it back. And I saw that video and I was like, wow, that was really cool. And I wanted to do something like that. And then they did the Hamilton Zoom thing on John Kaczynski's YouTube channel.
Some Good News or whatever.
Yeah, Some Good News. And I was like, cool. And so I said, that's kind of what I wanted to do. And but I don't know where we're going on it, but it took 2 months to do it.
Yeah. Well, it came out really great. So we'll put if we can get a link or something, we'll put it underneath here so people can check it out.
Yeah. Cool.
So they know where to go to see it. So just tell us a little bit about you, like, what's your background? I mean, I know that you lived in Kansas City. I don't think you were born in Kansas City, but you lived there.
No, I was born on a horse farm. My father was a manure slinger, and my mother, I don't know who my mother was, but no, I'm kidding. My mom, we're from Kentucky.
Okay.
And that's where horses came from. As a matter of fact, I'm super allergic to horses, and I've ridden them a few times, but man, they make me sick.
Really? Oh.
Born in Kentucky. I lived in Ohio a couple times. Moved to Kansas City when I was about 10. Started playing piano around 3. By the time I was, I didn't really start playing guitar until my family moved to Seattle. And I think I was about 16 or 17. My sister got an acoustic guitar for Christmas. And I literally found it 2 nights before Christmas and found it in the closet of my parents and started playing it.
Okay.
And my parents found out. And then probably about a month or 2 later, I stole it from my sisters. I don't think she ever played it. So I played on that guitar. It was a nylon string kind of crappy guitar, but that's where I learned. And then I went back to keyboards, and I was just a keyboard player forever. My first band, I played a little guitar, but mostly keyboards in Seattle.
Yeah.
I was in Seattle pre-grunge. So this is in 1947. Me and Ray Charles were kind of playing the circuit.
Oh, good
Right.
old Ray.
Right. But being in Seattle is what kind of flipped my mind to writing music. I had a buddy. I went to a private school downtown, kind of like Rockhurst here in Kansas City. It was called Seattle Prep. Very funky, liberal, weird high school. But it was about an hour drive every day to school.
Right.
I don't know why my parents made me do that. I don't know. But every morning, one of the kids, so my second year there, a freshman, was in my carpool because he lived in the same neighborhood. And biggest stoner I've ever met in my life. I mean, he was 15. It was crazy. But we'd sit in the back of the car and his eyes would be all like this. And he'd have this notebook. He was just writing. I was like, what are you writing, dude? And he's like, man, I'm writing songs. I go, yeah? And so I was like, cool, let me see one. So I took one. First song I ever wrote to his lyrics was called Over and Done. And I was 16, he was 15, but the song was coming from like a guy who was like 30. Over and done, we are no more. Something about catching you in the arms of another, and blah, blah, blah. And it was just like, who writes shit like that at 15?
Right, no kidding.
But we ended up forming a band, and then won the high school talent show at Prep. And
nice.
And then my family got moved to California, and that fell apart. And I didn't get back into music. I dabbled in it in Kansas City. Came back to Kansas City and finished college here, and then moved to LA to work in the film industry back in the 90s, 80s, 90s, late 80s, early 90s. And I bought an acoustic guitar. I saw the Indigo Girls in concert after that big hit, Closer to Fine, came out.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can do this. I don't need a big guitar amp. I just need an acoustic guitar, because it's all I wanted to be able to do was play guitar down at the beach. Gotcha. And so I bought a guitar. It was $200 and learned that song. And I started learning every Beatles song I could get my hands on.
Nice.
And that's kind of how I became a musician. Then I formed a band with a buddy. It was an acoustic duo called the Cheneys, named after Lon Chaney. Yeah.
Okay.
We were originally called Lon Chaney and the Faces.
That's good.
Didn't quite ring because neither one of us was Lon Chaney, and also Lon Chaney is trademarked by his family. So,
oops.
Right. So we just went as the Cheneys, and and this is like the early '90s when grunge was exploding, and we were like out on desert highway.
Right.
But yeah, so that's kind of where everything came together.
Okay, cool.
And I've been messing things up ever since.
Who doesn't?
We all have.
That's what we're all doing. Messing shit up. But
now, people may not know, but David and I have played together a little bit. We've jammed
a couple different times. You played in
situations.
We played together at the what's that?
American Royal.
American Royal. They had when their music festival was at, or their barbecue festival was at Arrowhead.
Yep.
Yep. You played that, and then you and I played with Eric Vakes for a while.
Yep. We played several shows with a mutual friend, Eric Vakes. We'll maybe throw on a link to some of that later too.
Eric Vakes and the Vague Lakes. We were vague. You and I.
we were vague. Yeah.
So vague. That was a lot of fun. I missed that. I missed doing shows, but
yeah,
playing guitar where I wasn't the front guy, where I was just had a little more freedom and didn't have to, that was kind of fun.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, you got to do that for somebody on a tour of Canada at one point.
I know what you're talking about. That guy right there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know he's being humble about it, but you got to tour with John Fogerty.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, if they don't know that, I mean, hopefully there's a way to tell that story without giving away your secret sources. But you got a pretty good gig there for a minute.
There's nothing secret about it. It was just right place, right time, and fortunate son. Not to steal that phrase. I was I still remember getting the call. I'd moved to Kansas City in 2010. So this is August, mid-August 2012.
Mhm.
And I was on my way to play a gig on a Friday night at the Record Bar.
Hey, Pepper.
And my old manager called.
For listening.
And he's like, hey, man, John, and my old manager did a lot of work for John Fogerty. And he's like, hey, John's doing a tour of Canada. Would you like to go to tour Canada? I'm like, yeah, my band open up for John? He goes,
No,
John wants you to play guitar for him. I go, what? Me?
Amazing, right?
Is this, are you messing with me, right? And he said, no. John just lost his guitarist and they needed guitars for this tour, like immediately. Can you do it? I go, I actually had to think about it because I just started. All I see is that a tail.
Yeah, it's a tail.
That's a tail.
I was like, I just gotten this job working at Lydia's, and I had full benefits, which is the first time I've had benefits in 15 years of being a musician.
Oh, amazing, right?
And I was like,
good timing.
Right, benefits, touring the world in a private jet. Benefits.
Yeah, that's
playing Saturday Night Live or the Super Bowl. Benefits. I mean,
yeah, sure.
And I said, yeah, I'll do it. So I had to basically do some like online auditions. I videoed myself here at home playing a couple of my songs, a few of his songs, and then he called back and his brother. Everything went through his brother, and his brother's like, "Hey, can you play electric?" I go, "Well, yeah. All my stuff is down at the studio." So then I had to go down to the studio where we used to practice down at with John Johnson, Supermassive Black Holes.
Yeah.
I was practicing there and
Okay.
recorded me playing Fortunate Son really loud and rocking because he was looking for that Dave Grohl kind of, rock guy. And I just cut my hair because it used to be kind of longer.
Mm-hmm.
And his wife was mad that, I don't know, man, he's got short hair. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's cool.
And so that was Friday, and then Monday night I was at the Czar Bar bartending. My wife was there with me. Mike Borgia and Emily Frost were sitting at the bar. It was like 10 o'clock. There was nobody there, and then my phone rings, and I'm like, yes. He goes, you're in. Can you be here? You'll be here next. Can you? First rehearsal is next Tuesday. I'm like, so a week from this Tuesday. So a week from tomorrow. He goes, yes. Because Monday was Memorial Day. So I flew out on Sunday, had Memorial Day to myself. I had to learn 40 songs in
Oh my God.
5 days. And
Wow.
Amazing.
and then even though I had the gig, I was pretty sure I had the gig, I still had to kind of audition.
Yeah.
So Tuesday at 9 a.m. was our I get picked up. Our rehearsal starts at 10, and so it was like an 8 straight hour practice. I'm like, is this for real? We basically got 20 minutes to wolf down a Subway sandwich, and I go, and I was grateful. I mean, a free meal and playing guitar like this.
Sure.
And one of the guys goes, don't think you're gonna get any more than this. I go, what? He goes, yeah, they're super cheap, and we're lucky to get these day old sandwiches. I go, what? This is awesome. I'll take a week old sandwich and play guitar like this.
Yeah.
So I yeah, and it was the craziest thing. Those 2 days of rehearsal, I kept pinching myself. I'm like, that's his name just Kenny Aronoff.
Wow.
Jimmy Infeld, Dave Santos, and then Bob Malone, who was the new guy before me. So he'd only been with them like 6 months, and he already did the European tour, which bummed me out. But I just looking there like, wow. And the coolest moment, and I cannot remember the song because I kind of went blank, but I remember the moment. I was literally like, my face was here, John's was here, and Jimmy's was here, and we were doing 3-part harmony to like Proud Mary or something.
Oh, wow.
I'm going,
Yeah.
I bet.
And
That's
I was just
amazing.
like, okay, this is really cool. And so then that night I went to, there was a sushi restaurant just like a half block from where I was staying at the legendary Sportsman's Lodge in right there in the valley on Ventura Boulevard. And I spent like $100 on myself. Just, yeah, come on, bitches.
Yeah.
And then the next day, we left Van Nuys Airport at 7 a.m., got to St. John's, Nova Scotia at 3, went straight to the venue and had a 6-hour rehearsal.
Oof.
After a 7-hour plane flight, or a 3-hour plane flight. And then took an hour break and then played a 2.5-hour show. And at the end that night, I'm like, what am I doing? I was like, I shouldn't be here. I hurt so bad. Every inch of my butt, my back was killing me. My fingers were numb. They hurt so bad I couldn't feel the tips. But then I was like, wait a minute, I just played in front of 10,000 people.
Yeah.
And I never forget, like a moron. So in center field, put me in coach. So Kenny has this drum pad. He's like, ta 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 ta. So it's like hand claps.
Yeah.
Get the crowd going. And I'm like, and I walk up to the stage in this solo part when that's going on, and the freaking CO2 cannons go, psh, 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 psh,
Oh.
froze me. I'm like, and I couldn't breathe because it was all CO2, and I'm backing up going, but I was looking at going, man, this is
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
And the guys in the band were like, dude, it's a bunch of geriatrics. You're not going to see any hot chicks. This is not rock and roll, man. This is corporate rock to the nines. And halfway through the show, 2 of the most gorgeous blondes come rushing to the stage. They're like, ah! And they're all like 22 and 28. I'm going,
yeah.
Right? So, yeah, from then on, it was a blast.
That's nice.
That's awesome. It's a great story and a great experience.
What? Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Sad that it ended. And I always thought that, a year later I'd be doing it again with my band.
All right.
Things happen.
Yeah.
But I got a tattoo to prove it. Well, I don't know, prove it.
There you go. To commemorate. Well, I think this just shows like the sphere and the connections that you kind of need to have. Like your song, When We All Come Together, that getting those people, that's not an accident. That's not a fluke to get those people. You got those people because you have a sphere. You have connections and friendships, and it's sort of like, well, let's call on it. Let's get it together. Literally,
Yeah.
let's get them together. Let's get people together.
Yeah.
And so, just
and that's kind of what
that back in.
That's what the community is.
All those musicians to
Yeah.
do that and be motivated to do that, and it's because you're a good guy, and that's I think.
Thanks. Back at you. Both.
Importantly, there's a purpose behind it that we maybe should mention that too. The purpose was to raise some money. So
Yes. MidwestMusicFoundation.org.
Yeah.
But there's 2 things you can do just to pimp the site out. So at MidwestMusicFoundation.org, you can donate or you can get money. And the donation is MidwestMusic.org/donation drive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's to help out people like us, musicians, but more less fortunate musicians who are really struggling. I am fortunate my wife is still working, and I give when I can because I'm not hurting, but I know a lot of people are.
Right.
And so if you are a hurting musician, MidwestMusicFoundation.org/COVID relief. COVID relief form. Sorry, it's a little bit longer.
Okay.
And it's a little money. It's not a lot, but it can help you with groceries, gas, maybe part of rent. But I've been wanting to help them for years.
Sure.
On a big level. I was blessed to have them around when I was in desperate need. I've been in the hospital twice with actually I've been in the hospital probably 10 times in the last 5 years or plus years. My pancreas exploded or almost exploded once again. I was in the hospital for 3 weeks, so I had no income and couldn't pay rent.
Jeez.
And then when I had my knee replacement, I was out for 3 months and couldn't work. So they helped me out. Yeah, they're great organization. Rhonda Line is the head of it. It started with Abby Henderson and Chris Meck,
Right.
who've done a wonderful thing for the music community of Kansas City.
Yeah.
When we all come
Exactly.
together.
Exactly. There you go.
When we rise up.
But yeah, man, I mean, I think that what we just talked about makes it even more important to share what we're doing and to be compassionate to other people and try to see things from their point of view, even if you don't agree. And if they go down a tangent that's dangerous, then you can say, that's dangerous, goodbye. But if someone's willing to talk and you can say, look, I see this and I want to help. I mean, this is a time where artists have a lot of power and we just don't know it. And so we need to use that to bring people together, because all people of all ilk, all types of people love all kinds of music.
Yeah.
And so, just because they're country doesn't mean they don't like rap or rock. Everybody likes everything nowadays. So if we can come together and say, hey, we're going to get through this and we can do these things and, we're with you, I think it helps. And some people are going to ignore it. Some people aren't. But I think it's important that we talk about these things and we be positive about how I think in the future we're going to get through this and be better for it. I mean, I hope that's true. I'm not going to let go of that hope. There's always a chance that it's not, but I don't believe that. My minimal years of experience in life have taught me that generally we grow better when we go through something like this. You get better. You have more perspective. You have more, a point of view. And I can't help but think that some great things are going to come from this. So I think,
So I believe.
Yeah, me too.
I mean,
let's keep that thought as we go forward, and just
Well, guys, it's been
yeah, it's been great.
It's been awesome. I really enjoyed chatting with you. And
David, thanks for jumping on
again soon.
Yeah, thanks for jumping on. And hey, if you need another point of view on a song, just send it. I'll tell you what I think. I'll help you out if I can.
Tanner, by the way, you've got an amoeba on your shirt. Just
smash it. All right, guys.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. See you later, man. Have a good rest of your day. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.